Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red for Anfield Index. It's crazy to think the season ends on Sunday, isn't it? That we'll be lifting that Premier League and just the state that we're in, or will be in, I should say. It's crazy to think that the Reds have not won a game of football for, if I'm right, is it about 4 weeks? Someone may pick me up on that, but it's about 4 weeks, isn't it, so far? And yet, has there ever been a better time to be a Red? It just feels like on the pitch, off the pitch, everything is maybe the best it's been for some time. And even old faces, old, friendly, and cherished faces are rearing their heads in the best possible way. It's just a great time to be us right now, isn't it? I'm your normal host, Dave Davis, coming to you from, to be honest, it's not as warm as it's been in Edinburgh the last few weeks. Hopefully, it's nice wherever you are. At Anfield this weekend, the weather is supposed to be okay, about 14, 50 degrees, bit of cloud now and again, but no one will really care, will they, by the time everything's said and done? So here we are, ladies and gents. What are the headlines today on Saturday, the 24th of May, for all things Liverpool? Now, you know most of these, I suspect, but we'll get into the big detail straight away. And if you look at the screen, we look at the AI website, there's one player dominating it specifically, isn't there? There's old legends dominating it at the same time as well. But where are we going to start? We're actually going to start with a current legend. And this is always a brilliant thing. Mo Salah, as it says there, wins the 24-25 Premier League Player of the Season award as selected by his peers to go with the Football Writers Award. Just amazing. We shouldn't just ignore this, play it down at all. It's the fact that Mo is just so far clear of everything else. And as it says there, I mean, look at those for Premier League numbers. In a 38-game campaign, 28 goals and 18 assists. And we know he's still chasing the record as well. And saw off competition, as it says, from Ryan Gravenberch and Virgil van Dijk. Now, I don't know if this is possible, and maybe someone could correct me in the chat panel. I don't think Gravenberch can be in the Young Player of the Year, 22, now 23, I should say. Someone may correct me on that. But yeah, it will be interesting to see who wins that one. Not that I'm saying he would before anyone jumps on it. But yeah, most importantly, the Egyptian king, the demigod, has won the Player of the Year to go with the Football Writers Player of the Year. So a massive shout out to Mo on that. Other things to mention, headlines came out last night. There was a few interesting embargo ones, aside from all the other things that were going on transfer related. But shout out to Lewis Steele on this. This was one that drew my eye, what Arne Slot said. Did anyone clock this in the embargo? So it's on the screen, but for those that can't see it, these are Slot's comments. There was never 1 second of doubt about joining Liverpool. And that was largely to do with the fact they wanted me and how they tried to convince me to come. So I didn't have time to open my laptop one time to show them what I did or how I worked. They knew everything about me. Journalists in Holland wrote wrongly that I was one of 3 or 4 candidates. But from the start, it was clear to me. I told my agent they found 1 or 3 candidates. I am not interested. It's a good piece, so I won't read it out all there, but Lewis Steele's done an article in the Daily Mail about it, and it is a brilliant one. I mean, it's fascinating for me because in the last couple of weeks, we've almost got the backstory somewhat, haven't we? Do you remember we got the Arne Slot saying he was allowed to come to Anfield and obviously see how things work, and, they were already laying the groundwork then, weren't they? Sussing him out a little bit, and quite clear that for all the talk over Alonso, Amorim, everything, if we rewind, it was always Slot. Like for Virgil, it was always Liverpool. Yeah. We shouldn't sort of glaze over this, I don't think, with everything else that's going on off the field right now. So I've got to be honest, this was one that warmed my heart on a Saturday morning and well worth the full read of the article. But if we look what else is going on with Anfield Index, I mean, for everything Liverpool, there's only one player dominating at the moment, isn't there? And that is Bayer Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz, who will hopefully soon be a Liverpool player, won't he? Now, we had a great pod this morning with Sasha Taglieri. Shout out to him on this morning to get the latest. He got the scoop on the deal, didn't he? And he was saying with this that Liverpool are hoping to wrap it up within the next 72 hours. So even by almost the end of the season, this could be done. Literally ahead of that 1st of June transfer window 1, if you want to call it that. This could literally be done. How great is that? And let's also be honest, because we're going back a little bit. We know they've got talks today with Bayer Leverkusen. So even as we speak, the information coming out of Liverpool trying to do a deal, and that's important to say. So things could even drop today. We could get a there we land at some point today. That is so important. And remember that dopamine hit from last night? Now, that's not the first of the David Ornstein bombs, but there was 3, wasn't there, in short succession? And it was like that Vince McMahon meme, wasn't it? Like, we've got a chance, we might be front runners. Oh, he's house hunting in Cheshire, or he was house hunting in Cheshire. Oh, Liverpool are in talks, and he's told them he's preferred. It was literally that Vince McMahon meme, just the way the dopamine flowed last night. It's just been brilliant for the last few hours. No two ways about it. And as Sasha also talked about with his tweet, that this was never straightforward. City at one time were serious players. Bayern at one time were serious players. And the thing that may have gone against City a little bit was Pep Guardiola wasn't there, apparently. As Sasha said, when he came to speak to them at the first occasion, not for this trip, just gone. Bayern Munich, again, the things that played out publicly, that didn't work. But from Michael Edwards and his skills as a negotiator, from Arne Slot and convincing the player and impressing him directly, this has swayed Florian Wirtz to Anfield. And there's a few reported, to be fair. After that meeting, Florian Wirtz has got back on the plane buzzing, hasn't he? His choice has been Anfield. Now, the money got mentioned, obviously, by Sasha, and it's right. We can't just pretend this is a communist enterprise, but it's not just the money, it's the package overall, isn't it? It's the project, as we've heard from the Wirtz team, that was always going to sway them. And what he's cooking up at Anfield, Slot, Edwards, Hughes, Florian Wirtz is set to come on board. And now we're kind of in this period of waiting, are we, people? We're hoping for give us the there we land, give us the details. What's the fee? What's the deal? We got this morning at Anfield Index a bit of info that we tweeted about, and also it's on a few of our Discord panels as well. Florian Plettenberg, who's quite busy, quite active around this, understandably, because he's based in Germany, isn't he, of Sky Sports, mentions this. Just to prove you can't see it on the screen, let me highlight it. I understand there was a discussion around a deal that would involve Liverpool paying a transfer fee and Leverkusen additionally receiving a player from Liverpool. Now, they're actively looking, Leverkusen, for a goalkeeper, a central defender, potentially a striker, and potentially a replacement for Wirtz. Now, let's be honest. Liverpool would love to do a deal that incorporated a player going the other way and reduce that fee. There's zero doubt. And you start to think about players that are clearly looking to move on, and we are clearly looking to move on at the same time. The goalkeeper, Queven Kelleher, is looking for the next step, isn't he? Yeah, James LFC 86, they're saying Elliott or Kelleher. I think here they come into the mix. A central defender. Well, Jarell Quansah is probably looking for game time elsewhere. It's hard to see him getting any. He's clearly not fancied by Arne Slot. I know people will be Quansah fanboys will be jumping on me for this, and I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's just about, will Jarell Quansah play regularly? I don't see that. Maybe something to consider. Striker, it's not going to be Nunes, is it? It's hard to see. You never know. I shouldn't just maybe dismiss it. And a replacement for Wirtz, which, as Red Armchair Supporter says, they'd love Harvey. You do wonder about Harvey for Leverkusen. A slower, more technical league. More about the transitions than the physical nature. A number 10 role. Obviously, Leverkusen might change, but it looks like Eric Ten Hag's coming in, doesn't it? So he's probably not going to play a 3-4-2-1 like they had under Alonso. But Leverkusen are going to be in the Champions League. What a move that would be for Harvey, by the way. I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm not convinced it will happen as well because of how much we value him at and what the German teams will want to pay. But what a move that would be for Harvey Elliott. I honestly think he could be an absolute star over there and in a Champions League club. Whether he'd fancy it is a completely different discussion. But just something to keep an eye on. I think it's important to call out that we'd heard that Anfield Index as well, that Liverpool are trying to include players in this deal for Florian Wirtz. But even though I've done this 2 times, I couldn't give a stuff. This is still a thing of beauty looking at Florian Wirtz's FBref profile. And even just in the 2 biggest competitions, let's not include any German domestic cups. 16 goals, 13 assists, 29 goal contributions. Whether you look at him as an attacking midfielder / winger, whether you look at him as a potential forward and playing that false 9, it's just a sea of green. We are just talking about an elite talent. And in fact, if you are comparing as a forward, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attributes are in the 99th percentile against forward, which are assists, shot-creating actions, passes attempted, progressive passes, and successful take-ons. All the statistics are there for him to be a sensational elite false 9. Even progressive passes received, 98th. Progressive carries, 97th. Now that's forward. Against attacking midfielders or wingers, because he could come from the left as well, potentially. 98th percentile for passes attempted, 96th for successful take-ons. 22 years old. Just 22 years old. As Dasha Tablieri mentioned on the Media Matters this morning on the podcast we did, part of the aim for the Wirtz's family is for him to be in the conversation and start to develop for the Ballon d'Or. It's the World Cup, not this summer coming, next summer as well, isn't it? So you're thinking about that. This, honestly, you look at his stats and even how he did to last year. This is a player that is ready to go supernova, people. Don't undersell just how good it is to have a forward line of Wirtz, Salah, and one other. There's two now, when we obviously confirm, touch wood, praise be to baby Jesus and God and Moses and everyone who's listening, but 2 elite players in our forward line. Just absolutely sensational. I'm just excited. We're all waiting for developments. We will all see what happens on that. Other story to mention, this was an interesting one that caught the eye. Paul Joyce put this out last night. Did anyone see it? That Everton are, having talks with Liam Delap. They're trying to convince him. But as Paul Joyce put out last night, and Lewis Steele has confirmed this morning, so that's about as reputable as it gets, Ben Doak is of interest to Everton, with suggestion around the £25 million mark will get it done. Now, I've seen a lot of reaction to this online. People going, nah, this kid's going to be a next superstar. You can't let him go. Look at his pace, look at his take-ons, etc. No. This is not being derogatory to Ben Doak at all, because I think he can be a real almost star at the right club and a real Premier League player. I don't doubt that at all. But Liverpool is a different level. And we've said it a number of times that with the forward line, our understanding is that Arne Slot wants at least 5 elite forwards. I know we've got 6 in the attack so far, but they don't want to block the path of young Rio and Gamoa either. So 5 senior forwards even, and Rio, it's not looking good for Ben Doak, is it? I fully expect him to depart, and I can see everyone putting this in the chat panel. I get it as well, because the link's been there previously, hasn't it? Around a certain Jared Branthwaite. Without wanting to pour scorn on that, and you never know. When we were targeting Jared Branthwaite, Everton were in administration practically, weren't they? And at risk of going under. So it felt like a cheeky bid or something that, you could prize it. Now they've got new owners, new stadium and all that. I just can't see them wanting to do a deal that way. However, who'd have thought Everton will be interested in Ben Doak? And maybe that could be if, Doak is included in it. Maybe we're all dreaming a little bit. But it is one to keep an eye on this summer. And Messi Aquatics there, for God's sake, yes, I know Rio plays predominantly on the left. I know Doak plays predominantly on the right. I've talked about this many times. The point I was making is the overall collection of forwards. The info we have for Arne Slot is around it is 5 senior forwards and Rio and Gamoa. We'll see if that bears out. But yes, I know Ben Doak plays on the right, Rio on the left. But there we go. Good reminder for everyone. And speaking for players who play on the left, Sasha mentioned this player this morning. When we did the Florian Wirtz pod, said it kind of alluded to Sasha that there's a full expectation around Europe that Luis Diaz moves on, and Liverpool are having a serious look at Malick Fofana still. Belgian international, plays for Lyon. Now, we know Lyon are looking to sell, aren't we? Hey? We know their circumstances. We know his agent has talked about Liverpool an awful lot, and I mean an awful lot. That's the club they want him to go to. And there's interesting things to look at when you see his profile. I mean, the thing is, progressive carries, 98th percentile. Progressive passes received, 91st. I won't pretend I watch Liga, and I've not seen them regularly. But from the bits we got in the Europa, especially the 2 games against United, he carries it fast and he carries it well. So he's a carrier. So there's potential there. And when you look at who he's compared against, there's, in these percentiles, the likes of Garnacho, Anthony Gordon, I think still on Liverpool's radar, Kaoru Matoma, there's some big names there. You do wonder if Liverpool do look for a bargain signing, shall we say, or a money ball style sign, if you want to call it that. If Fofana could still be in the mix if he's picked up at the right price. But Sasha mentioned him. Maybe what stood out for most, though, is he specifically said there is that expectation across Europe that Luis Diaz will leave. Whether that's true, whether it's Barcelona and all those bits, we were going to have to see. But maybe the hot topic, aside from Florian Wirtz, I bet you've all seen the clip. I bet you've all heard the thoughts of Jurgen Klopp or what he shared last night. So I've seen people clip little bits, or I don't think maybe they're giving full context. So let's just play what Jurgen Klopp said last night about Trent Alexander-Arnold. So you can hear it all and see his body language fully.
Tell anybody what they shall think, because no, I don't want to tell you what you have to think, but I can tell you what you think is wrong. So that's what I can, because I'm an old man and I don't waste time with hiding my opinion. So, and I tell you what, the video we saw, nothing of it. All the whole time, Trent Alexander-Arnold was one of the players who made that all happen. It was not me. I'm the one who you see here, but it was not me. I didn't score a goal. I didn't cross the ball. I didn't do nothing on the pitch. And this boy, with 18 years old, he scored a free kick in half-time. When if he doesn't score that, we don't qualify for the Champions League. In the game against Barcelona, he did the most cheeky thing in the world and set up a goal for a corner, which resulted in a game which will never happen again. I don't tell you you should not be disappointed, you should not be angry. I tell you, don't forget. Don't forget, this club doesn't forget. We are famous for not forgetting.
There's so many things to this. So many things to this. I mean, first of all, Jurgen Klopp is a god in my eyes, and I'll always listen to what he says. I'll always try and absorb it, reflect on it, think about it, because I think it shouldn't change for us as Liverpool fans. When Klopp speaks, we listen. That's the first thing to say. We are talking about a god in all our eyes. Anyone who says anything different, I'm just not interested in anything around that. The second bit to it is, just because Jurgen Klopp says it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. We've said this so many times on this show, on various Anfield Index pods. Everyone is entitled to an opinion on this. We can't change that. Everyone watching from afar, everyone who pays their money and goes into that ground is entitled to express themselves in the way they choose. Okay? I completely understand Jurgen Klopp's point about the club and we don't forget. And part of the reason it does hurt, I think, everyone so much is we know the circumstances and the way it's been done. We've spoken about that enough. It's because the talent we know Trent has. That's why it hurts. We don't forget that. That's part of the reason. It's part of the reason because of a Scouser and, you know, what that means to local fans. I'm not getting into all this out-of-towners wool debate. I'm not interested in all of that. It's just part of the collection, isn't it, of feelings that go in there. The third big thing as well, you've got to think of Jurgen Klopp and who he is. Klopp's always talked about collecting relationships rather than trophies and how he sees it as an elite manager. And he has been an elite manager. You know, he is an elite manager. He's a god in our eyes. Let's not change any of this. With that context, of course, he was going to come out backing for Trent. Trent was one that he helped develop. Trent was one that he made vice captain. Trent became what he became under Jurgen Klopp. He was always going to go to bat for Trent. Anyone who thought anything different, I'm surprised. And maybe in the 24 hours yesterday, I think you got a great, and what a word for Saturday, juxtaposition of Slot and Klopp and how they see things differently. Because there's Klopp giving sort of that impassioned defence, you could call it, of Trent Alexander-Arnold yesterday. And yet, we heard Arne Slot in the press conference, didn't we, talk about how in pre-season, and he was pressed on it, he just didn't just volunteer it up freely, but how he was pressed on, or when he was pressed, sorry, Trent Alexander-Arnold and his attitude in training and needing to improve that and how he's spoken to. It's also important to say, though, people, he did say, Arne Slot, well, I had the same chat with Salah about the way they are in training. So it's something that he's seen. But you see the contrast there between the two. I think they're both elite coaches. They just go about it a different way. That's all. Okay? And again, I adore Jurgen Klopp. I will always listen to everything he says. I always consider everything that he says. I just don't see it the same. But it's up to you. Again, everyone's got a right to this opinion. In a way, though, with what's coming tomorrow, maybe you disagree with me. With the title win, with the Wirtz thing coming, is everyone not just bored a little bit about the whole Trent thing? We all just kind of want to move on a little bit, don't we? And at least from this weekend, we can all do that. And, any remnants of this will just go. Personal opinion, maybe you say it or see it differently. Shout out as well to Eddie. When he's not flogging me to death making these podcasts, he is writing some good words. And I won't read it all, but he's done an article on it and a couple of tweets around last night. I would fully recommend a read of the article, a read of the tweet, which really goes into depths about how we may see it differently as fans from Jurgen Klopp. But Trent and Jurgen, the one thing I absolutely wanted to end on with this, remember Jurgen Klopp, to see what the man is, has come back from the foundation or for the foundation. Remember that Jurgen Klopp donated £100,000 when he left to the LFC Foundation. Remember when Jurgen Klopp did what he did last night, he helped to raise, the suggestions are, nearly of £250,000 for the LFC Foundation. So I'm not interested in hearing one derogatory or negative comment around Jurgen Klopp whatsoever. It can just be that we all have a different opinion on this. Straightforward, eh? The only other thing that is interesting, that I see people debating this, we expect, we hope, praise be to baby Jesus, Moses and all the orphans out there, that Florian Wirtz comes in. When Florian Wirtz comes in, it's usually the death knell for some people. It's usually the death knell for some people, isn't it? As Messi Aquatics there said, I think the shirt auctioned for 20,000. So take that as the positives, eh? But, Núñez is gone. So we know that. But it's not a like for like. If you would, it's so hard to predict which senior forwards will be at the club next season. Salah's going to be, we know, Cody Gakpo's going to be. They're going to be joined by Florian Wirtz. That's your three. You've then got Rio Ungamoa. But genuinely, when you look at the remaining four, Núñez, is gone. Diaz, Jota, Chiesa. Would anyone seriously bet money that they'll be there? And honestly, it wouldn't surprise you if any of those go. It really wouldn't at all. Personally, I think Chiesa you look at the minutes, you look at the story there. Chiesa's going to go for me. This is the big question mark, isn't it? Around Luis Diaz at the moment. All the Barca talk. Sasha mentioned it. The buzz around Europe is expected to leave. Yeah. Diogo Jota, maybe it's a sign right now. He's got a great song and he's done some great moments for us, but I don't think there'd be that much clamour, shall we say, if he left. Just really struggled at the end of the season. So honestly, the forward line is going to be so interesting to see. And we mentioned players, just in case you missed it at the top of the show, Liverpool are looking to include others potentially in the deal with Leverkusen. Question marks now, isn't there? Endo was linked with them at one point, as was Tyler Morton. I'd forgotten this. Did anyone remember? Tyler Morton was subject to an offer from Leverkusen. However, it's important to say that was when Xabi Alonso was in charge, and we know what's happened. But Harvey Elliott, Jarell Quansah, you like me, we're all watching this today for updates, things that will happen, eh? We will see what develops. And as we talk about AI content and the things we're getting out for you, we are keeping you horny, thirsty buggers watered, fed, and aroused, because look at this in the last 24 hours, people. The content that has gone out for you. We had Dave talking about the potential of Alvarez, because that's the buzz around Europe. Me and Bart's looking at Arroyo, that link. Adam Wharton, God, imagine getting him in as well. David Lynch, who talked about Wirtz in depth, Konate situation in depth. We've even got it there for you. Me and Bart's ran the full analysis on transfer market metrics around Florian Wirtz. And then, yeah, even Daily Red that Dave did yesterday, a full breakdown. Even this morning, ladies and gents, as we said, we had Sasha on talking about it. We had yesterday the breaking news of David Ornstein, even a little bit, which will probably get completely ignored. The press conference and everything that held. David, honestly, that is all just in the last 24 hours. If you're looking for time to fill your weekend ahead of the Reds getting crowned Premier League champions, well, it's all there for you, isn't it? But remember this. For all the talk around Wirtz, which is brilliant, for all the talk about other things, it is on the field that matters. And tomorrow, I'm not doing Daily Red. Guy will be covering because I am heading to Anfield. I'll be in Liverpool Sunday, the bank holiday Monday for the parade. It should just be absolutely incredible. You know it will be absolutely incredible. Things off the pitch right now look absolutely incredible. So there we go, ladies and gents. It's hard not to be uber positive at the moment. You should be uber positive. You should be excited for this weekend. And on Saturday, the 24th of May, that was another Daily Red for Anfield.